Hello Mr. Starbush, Barak here. So I know everyone enjoyed the first video for one pro tip versus every hero. And after 2 years of you guys asking me to make a sequel, here we are. This time I will divide it into 4 videos, one per faction. This way I get to put more effort into every tip as I have more time to prepare per video. As per usual, these tips are some little defensive tricks that once added in your gameplay, it will improve the matchup against that specific character. It is not a guide against every hero, just a little tip that has the potential to significantly change your win ratio when facing that respective character. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Warden. There is one tip that I think is a must-know for everyone, especially now that he's getting reworked and might become a strong contender in the meta. That tip is to learn how to dodge shoulder bash on level 1 and be fast enough to unlock roll on level 3 timing. This is done by dodging as late as possible on the first level and pressing specifically the sprint button once you realized he's going to keep charging. Obviously, there are counterplays to this. Warden can do a feint into guard break on level 1 timing, or feint mid bash and do a dodge attack on you. Make sure to not use this every time, otherwise it will become a weakness in your gameplay that can be easily exploited. Conqueror. Since his bash is lower damage than average, respectively 12, and taking into consideration the fact that he has a longer recovery after a whiff, it can be a viable strategy to prediction dodge on movement against his bash. This is done in order to get a guaranteed guard break on dodge. Obviously, you will have to mix it up and not always try to dodge, adapt to every opponent differently, but in general I would prefer reading against Conqueror than reacting. This is my preferred way to deal with his offense when I do not play a dash attack character, but obviously it can still be done on them. Just make sure to dodge attack if you haven't dodged early enough. Biscuit. I know you guys might not like option select tips, but I think this is a good one. You can use dodge option select, basically parry and dodge at the same time, in order to almost avoid the heavy softfeints that mix up completely. If you're on PC, you can bind dodge and heavy together, or if you're a console, you will have to input it manually. This is because you choose to parry top if the attack is committed, but dodge if he lets the regular heavy go. It can be beaten by softfeint into guard break, but it is a very good option select since it covers 2 out of 3 options she can do, giving you relatively good odds against her offense. Lowbringer. After Lowbringer's rework, there was a change that created a relatively big weakness for him. What I'm talking about is the fact that he can no longer safely heavy after a long arm. He can be punished every time with a neutral light in his recovery with no chance of counterplay. The reason for this is because when you do get hit by the heavy, it hits you when you're getting up, meaning it activates your hyper armor. Obviously, you can take this one step further with maybe 600 ms zone attacks. For example, in an LB gank as Nobushi, you can get up and zone both opponents around you. Centurion. One thing I think is very important to do is to never be passive against this mix-up. You either predict a level 1 and try to dodge, or you punish him for charging or feinting into guard break. For example, if you choose to not dodge, assuming he will not let level 1 go, you must attack yourself to punish him. If you do not do this, you basically give him way better odds of attacking you, since there is a safe scenario that can potentially give him a punish and never get punished himself. So basically, punish a bitch. Gladiator. I'm not sure how many people address this, but I have seen too many do this mistake to not call it out. Be more preservative against him near a ledge. He has a deflect that can throw. Regular attacks become way worse since the odds ratio go from maybe a light or a heavy landed to you instantly dying. A gamble I will never take. Blackfire. If there is one tip I have to give people against him, is to be really careful punishing his waves, to the point where you do not even want to do it most of the times, in 1v1 scenarios specifically. There is a common playstyle at the highest level, where the BPs will backlight in order to bait you to attack them. The thing is, they're an advantage most of the time. They can punish you for attacking with a 24 damage flip, an attack that you would only punish him for 15 damage. On top of it, he also has probably the safest chain bash in the game, in the case you're too late, choose not to punish him, or make the wrong read. But originally when I thought of this tip, I was thinking of it in teamfights. You will often notice that BP players will flip on their recovery if you try to punish them with a regular attack. Meaning, you can do things like feint into garbage to bait them out in a recovery. War Monster. A big mistake a lot of players do against War Monster is trying to light her out of her bash when she gets into it through her chain light. The reason it is a mistake is because unlike the bash that is followed after her neutral enhanced light, you cannot interrupt it without attacking in her hyper armor. It is because the second light has a longer hit stun, meaning it takes you longer to recover, enough time for her to get into her hyper armor. This means the light itself fails at its original goal, which was to interrupt her bash if charged, and beat feint into GB at the same time. Now, it only does one. Griffon. The most important option select you can have against Griffons is dodge rolling his heavy, respectively in the kick mix-up. Basically, most Griffons choose to mix up heavy and bash, something that you can avoid both at once with this simple trick. Once you see the Griffon attack from a side you are not blocking, you instantly roll. This is now done by dodging and then pressing specifically the sprint button to unlock as soon as you see the indicator. It is a very good tip, but it gets countered by heavy feint into garbage, and it also consumes a bit of stamina. Well, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the video, as this tips video take a lot more effort than my other projects. Anyway, as long as you guys get to learn and enjoy the vids, I will keep them coming. As I said, this will probably be one of the 4 upcoming tip videos, one for each faction. A thing that I believe needs to be said is that a lot of times there is no one simple trick that beats a character. As much as people hate to hear it, the way to improve is to invest time and learn from experiences. And that is obviously a good thing. Back in the day, I could tell you back dodge against Aramusha mix-up and you're safe from everything, but now you have to be smarter about how you play, meaning the game is evolving. In general, I've tried to attract people with an improvement mentality. I reject ranting and I heavily look down on it. The best tip I can give you is, instead of giving yourself excuses and accepting defeat because you truly believe this character is broken, you adapt instead. You get up and you fight again. You analyze your mistakes and move forward. If you're someone who comes here or to the subreddits just to complain, just know you are not getting better by doing it. You are showing everyone that you need an excuse to justify yourself losing. a mentality that I'm sorry but will not get you far. I've seen people around me do it, and I've seen them fall because of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and this little, I don't know, motivational speech at the end. So yeah, see you next time, Mr. Starfish. Bye bye!